learn how to be sustainable, how to acquire self-sufficiency, understand what self-help means, and essentially have a much more value-driven life for yourselves. And that's what we're going to concentrate on in this session on grassroots entrepreneurship, SDGs and SHGs. Now, I'm going to change the usual format of the session. That might be a bit controversial. Amitabh doesn't know about this, so if he's upset, bad luck. I will have a word with him later on and try to keep him in order. I'm going to start this session off by going to you first. And I'm going to ask, how many of you over here, please raise your hands, how many of you over here feel that you understand what grassroots entrepreneurship means? There's only one person. Two people, 3, 4, right. Grassroots, roots are coming up, springing into action. Any more grassroots people? People who understand what grassroots? Okay, I'm going to ask the 4 of you. I'm going to ask the 4 of you, and you have no other recourse than to answer my question. I'm going to ask each of you, what is your definition for grassroots? Your time limit is 30 seconds. So please, the gentleman who first raised his hand,
I don't have a mic.
could someone give him a microphone, please? Is there a microphone available?
It is.
Thank you.
Thanks. Now, grassroots entrepreneurship can have 2 meanings. First thing, it is like going down to the rural areas, very backward, underdeveloped areas of the country, and starting your work there, building up entrepreneurship. Or it can also mean an entrepreneur starting from scratch with hardly any money in his pocket, and he's like more of a street side operator, but ultimately he has high goals and high targets, and he knows one day he will come up and do something in life, and he will not only be self-employed but provide many jobs to others who are unemployed.
Thank you very much. Keep it at the grassroots level. Don't reach out to the treetop. So that's good, good. Excellent, please.
Any person who has got limited resources at his disposal, but who has got an aspiration to start something on his own.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, please.
Working more with the rural people, the students, and all the people you can reach out to with minimal resources, and then empowering them. So something like those.
So empowering disadvantage, if you like.
Yeah, like with the people with minimal resources.
Okay. Fine. And who's for the
I think grassroots is taking a seed, and instead of polishing it and cleaning it and putting it in your pocket, you put it in the mud, in the cow dung, where it will grow into a beautiful flower, beautiful plant, and give you fruits and flowers.
What are you going to do with a beautiful flower?
I think that's what grassroots.
Grassroots entrepreneurship?
Yes.
Making a flower.
No, producing fruits, getting the fruits of your labor.
Oh, getting the fruits. Okay, getting the fruit from the seed. Okay, I've got some key words over here, which I have picked up from these 4 observations. I'm going to pass them on to the panel over here. The first one was going backwards to build up. Did I get you correct? Going backwards to build up. You don't need to just say yes or no.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay, good. Starting from scratch. That was another set of keywords. The second set was working with limited resources but having aspirations that go beyond those limitations. The third one was rural empowerment. Who mentioned that?
Yeah, people with minimal resources.
And empowering disadvantage, empowering people who have limited resources. And the fourth one was the perfect ending, the flower and the fruit that you find from the seed. So this is where you turn disadvantage to advantage in a sense. So these are some of the key words that the audience feels that what grassroots means. Okay, I want a few others. Who in the audience knows what the Sustainable Development Goals are? How many goals are there? Do you know?
17.
Sorry? The microphone there, please, if it's possible. Important microphone agents. How many goals?
70.
70.
One, sir.
170. Okay. Can you name 2?
Poverty.
What about poverty?
No poverty.
Okay.
And then water quality, equality.
2, I say. In an examination, you're asked to answer 2 questions. You answer 3, the chances of your marks coming down are much higher. Okay, improving water resources, right. Anybody else who knows what the Sustainable Development Goals are, apart from poverty and improving water resources? Yes, please. Can you microphone go?
Making cities safe for living and improving the energy consumption
Great.
in cities.
Thank you. So, okay, we have 4. Ananya, this is going to be your territory, so you can see how alert and appreciative the audience is already. They've already identified 4. 13 remaining. You'll be pleased to know that I'm not going to seek out 13 contributions from the audience at the moment. Okay, who understands what SHGs are? What is SHGs? Collectively, self-help groups. Fantastic, I like that. And what do self-help groups do? Anybody?
They empower people to...
No, you have already said something on grassroots. Anybody? Somebody new? What do self-help groups do and why are they important? One answer. The microphone is spending more time searching you than you asking for the microphone. And he's gone away. Microfinance. What has microfinance got to do with self-help?
They lend money among themselves within the group.
So lending money to each other.
Yes, in Goa that is the trend.
Within the family?
Within the self-help group.
Within the self-help group.
Yes.
So what is the self-help group?
Basically, it consists of women group.
Only women.
Yeah.
Men don't know how to help each other.
NABARD has got joint liability groups. Those are men groups.
For men?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the men are unable to form self-help group themselves. So they need NABARD to do it for them. Okay, great. Okay, we are on to something. The audience is already involved. They're very aware. They're very appreciative of the issues over here. And you will be pleased to know, you may know some of them already, 3 excellent speakers that we have on the panel. All of them come and share, will be sharing with you very different perspectives. Dr. Madhav Sathe is a medical doctor by training, by profession, and indeed now stretches his own capabilities as a medical doctor to work in, especially in rural environments, and mixing this grand idea of medicine, the profession of medicine, alongside enterprise, and how you actually enable enterprise to occur, especially in rural environments. And he'll be sharing with us his work. Then we have Suprajit Raikar. Some of you heard this morning about it's all in the money, honey. But have you heard it's all in the honey, money? In other words, if there's no honey, there's no money. Where is Mr. Venkatraman? Has he gone in search of honey? I wonder. He should have been here. So that is a little flip around of what you heard in this morning. And you'll be hearing a fascinating story about how you encourage grassroots entrepreneurship through the making of honey. So without much ado, I'm going to ask the first speaker, Dr. Madhav Sathe, to take up your position here in front of the audience and give us some insights into your amazing work. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bangla Natak, Amitwa, Ananya. 1985, it was by accident. Somebody just pushed me and said that you are going to be secretary of this organization as you are youngest amongst the group who were trying to fight survival of this organization. So, have you heard that because you are the youngest, you get the best opportunity? No, it's always the senior who gets it. But I was the youngest, so I got it. I didn't know whether to take it or not because I was a doctor, it's fine. But had no experience in any other faculty like administration, accounting. Even today I don't know. But still, they chose me to be a secretary. Whether to take it or not was a decision. Ultimately came forward that what I was scared of was the failure. If I don't do anything, then the organization will go waste. This organization is formed in 1919. So I had a lot of goodwill till 68, was dying, and in 85 I got a chance to come in. So I didn't want it to, again, somebody coming in and wasting the opportunity and again allow the organization to die. So as soon as I got an answer that if you are not able to succeed, 2 years later, leave the organization and allow somebody to take over the reins. So as long as you are ready to leave and somebody else does it, then okay, your criminal level is low. You are not that criminal that you want to sit on a chair and do nothing. So I took the reins of this organization in 1985 and turned around this organization, and today it is a sustainable social enterprise. And this is now in 100th year of its working. We are celebrating our 100 years. Now this is what we do. We have 3 low-cost hospitals which have about 75 beds, 1 in an urban area, 2 in a rural area, 4 state-of-the-art creches which has got 1,000 children. Here we try and take out the guilt of the mother. The working mother usually have a guilt that I am not able to give full time to my child, and so his development will not be complete. So we try to take out that guilt by giving all kind of facilities to the child like drama, dance, drama, music, wherever mother would be running and taking them into the classes. And not only that, but we do take care of homework also. Because otherwise, the child is with us for 12 hours from 8 to 8. 8 o'clock when he goes home, the mother will have to break her head for a homework completion. So we do complete that homework so they get the quality time with the mother. We have 2 cancer patient convalescent homes where the 100 patients, outstation patients coming in for a treatment in Mumbai, they stay with us. A patient and 2 relatives stay over there. We charge them 300 rupees per day. They have a common cooking area where they can cook. At present, 50% of this is subsidized by one other trust, and they get a monthly full quota of their monthly ration. So it's a virtually free stay in Bombay and in a very beautiful surrounding and an atmosphere. Then, as I entered into this, all these 3 areas has got the middle class or a lower middle class face. It doesn't have a compassion, and the money doesn't come in without the compassion. So we started a rural development program through our rural development center. That was the one step that I had taken, which was not there before. Altruistically, outsourcing was done in 1948. The government has outsourced health. We were running a primary health center at 28 places for the government. Today, none of them are existing because government has a primary health center everywhere. So today, at that time, it was an altruistic partnership with the government. Today, it is called as outsourcing. So this 191 villages we have got, and that's what we do. Now I will take you into a real that strategic philanthropy. I have converted this entire organization into a strategic philanthropy hybrid organization for sustainability. I was a firm believer that I can't go on perpetually asking for the donations, neither I can depend upon that. I have to have my own earning so that whatever ideas I get, I should be able to start it By the time the money comes from a donor, either ideas become irrelevant or they are not sustainable. So basically, the whole idea was that the careful plan or a method for achieving a particular goal, usually over a long period of time, that should be achieved, that should be planned according to that. And a hybrid organization is a combine of a social logic of a non-profit with commercial logic of a for-profit organization. And that is what? We are 80% social, 20% business, but business is only into a business principles. We have used all business principles into this NGO functioning, and they are transparent, they are audited firms, they are completely impact analyzed, every has got the meaning, everyone knows from where the money comes and money goes, and we are answerable to all our donors. Now we don't call donors as a donors, we call them as a investors for change. They are investing into a change where people really require and facilities for changing, and we give them the dividend in a form of change that we have made into a community. So we work as an intermediary or an interlocutor between the communities and the money givers. So that is what we are doing. Now this program design, now I will talk about only rural development, because since this goes to the grassroots developments. Now 91 villages, 3.5 lakh population, health, hygiene, on-site ANC, PNC, mobile dispensary, advocacy in form of a gender sensitization, sex education in all the villages that has got secondary schools. Education is at present it is dry, it's absolutely bad, in shambles in a rural area. To make it interesting, to make it involving and probably interactive was our goal. Vocational training, a doorstep teaching method, use of a modern technology to impart the knowledge, meaningful environment, that's a reverse risk mitigation, non-materialistic. As we all know, the risk mitigation comes in the picture when the calamity has occurred. Is there any mitigation which comes in the picture to give a ray of hope? This, we do it in a manner that 5 fruit trees are planted into a below poverty line person's backyard. We give him a tree guards, we give him a manure, we give him a pesticide to survive this plant for 3 years. In 3 years' time, when the yield starts coming, 1,000 rupees per month is the minimum income that the farmer can get. In case of a drought, this can become a ray of hope for him. It will not be a complete thing, plus it is doing a task of greening the earth. So if you want to green the earth, make it meaningful, and that really can serve multiple aspects. Now present status of a health in Maharashtra is, for an 11 crore population, we have only 6976 doctors which are allopathic. Rest every healthcare system is dependent on Ayurvedic and homeopathic people, and a fight whether they should do allopathic medicine or not. But believe me, if that drastic decision is implemented of not allowing the BAMS or a homeopathy doctor, whether you like it or not, they will have to prescribe the medicine for acute diseases, otherwise the entire health system will collapse. So government should do as early as possible the decision, and legally it is possible. Each doctor covers almost about 14,000 diseases. India spends just 1.6% of the GDP as against the world average of 6%. Infant mortality in the rural area is 38 today, which was about 70 to 73 at the time of our independence, and now it has dropped down further to 23. Can improve the use of technology, reach out to the many, and what. So there is a way to do it, and believe me, this can be an enterprise into a rural area. Providing the health into a rural area is a big deal and a big window for anybody doing an entrepreneurship into a rural area. Now this what we did to improve this. We started a DAI training, that is nursing assistant program. Government insists on the graduate nurses in every hospital. Even in Bombay, 90% of the hospitals are run by only trained or experienced nurses without any formal training. That's the reality. And government insists that every hospital must have all the nurses graduated. When it is going to come in existence, God only knows. So we started a diet training, that is nursing assistant school, have trained 300 rural girls with the use of advanced technology. Computer education for them is a norm. They have to pass a MSCIT exam, which is an approved exam by Maharashtra government. The personality development courses are done, and we turn them into a real good nurses who can understand their own language of the patient in a rural area. Our aim is to provide a better facilities than what they are today. This is not very ideal, but the ideal is going to take a long time. We cannot wait till then, so we have started something. Now, foundation to turn India into a strong nation has to be laid down at a primary and the rural levels. And so, the quality of education right from the beginning should be excellent. Education and textbooks should be made interesting. At present, none of this is existing into a rural area. Even the city area, the municipal schools, we are talking about the grassroots poor people. We are not talking about the international school. Nothing of this is existing into the area. So we are convinced that the technology can be transformed the education in the rural areas and will bring it to a near equitable platform with the urban schools. The education has reached out to all, but the quality is very dismal. 2001, only little over 25% of the rural 18-year-olds were attending the schools, the rest having dropped out earlier. By 2016, we have changed it, so we are 70% of them, they are attending the schools. The quality of education is very poor. 18 years old survey, the ASER team only said 43% could solve the class 5 mathematics problem at the 18 years. And only 5th standard students couldn't read 2nd standard books is the status of our education last year. That is a all India survey by a Pratham. Now, this is what that we have done. A meaningful use of a technology goes much beyond putting computers in the school. Technology is not only the change agent for education, but when used as an integrated tool with the curriculum could make a difference. Now we have converted, now this 128 is the last slide, but today we have 173 Jilla Parishad schools converted into a digital schools, that is e-learning facilities without internet. Here we had to modify the ICT program. We take out the C from that to suit to the rural area where internet does not exist. So rural schools are advanced digital platforms. 18,500 primary students are taking advantage, 2,500 secondary students. And the entrepreneurship. This is again a big entrepreneurs platform. In Goa, there must be at least 3,000 rural schools. If you are ready to invest into these schools, a small amount, they are willing to pay. We are charging 10 rupees per student per month for a digital platform. So 20,000 students are paying 2 lakh rupees. But we are doing the work altruistically, so we are not taking money with us. The money remains in the village and used for the renewal of the license keys. So this is a big area where entrepreneurs can start. The rural entrepreneurs will require a sort of a simple things should be converted into a business. Everything you think of is a business in the rural area. It can be an enterprise into a rural area. Now education, knowledge, how does this empowerment comes through the, how does this people become empowered? Whether it is only the skill or whether it is only the money earned. We feel that the empowerment comes through the skilling or giving some kind of education and knowledge that gives them the awareness about the surrounding, that gives them the self-confidence, cooperation, recognition by the others, independence and the control over their own household as well as a community. We taught 3,000 ladies tailoring. Skilling is another area where entrepreneurs can enter into a rural area. It's the need. Nobody is going to get the jobs from the rural area. So they will have to be on their own. Make them electrician. Now in a rural area where we are working, there are 5 electricians in that town. If you call him today that there is a problem, he politely says that I'll come after 5 days. I am booked for 5 days. That's the situation. So why not change it? How much investment he requires? Nothing. He doesn't require a place, he doesn't require. Mobile is with him. So he can get his business on a mobile, he can convert that into a business. So this micro-social entrepreneurship in a rural set of problems, startup is a distant dream as it has not become contextual. Unless you make the dreams contextual, it is not going to come true. Entrepreneurship is by and large city-centric today. No incubation facilities in a rural area. Urban vision is a hindrance in a rural entrepreneurship. The people who are developing entrepreneurship today have the urban vision. They have not turned their radar towards the rural area. So this is the thing. Now what we can provide into a rural area is insights in a relevant technologies, technological development, working spaces, computer labs with internet, networking and logical support, access to the rural database, help them by giving a project to execute. Now what is lacking is a mentoring, training, business and then finance, which can be brought in by an academic partnership with the academic institute or incubation centers. Now reverse risk mitigation is a possibility if reverse migration is a possibility if micro-social entrepreneurships are promoted. This is the boy who was a painter. When he was in a college, he came to me and said, I want to paint your schools. He painted our schools. These are the schools that he has painted. We gave him a business. Today, down the line, 4 years, he has painted our 16 schools, but he had painted 36 outside our area. He has got a company on a website, and he has got 15 workers working with him today. So this has been the kind of a rural incubation that we are doing. This is a rural Kalam Kaushal is an enterprise by a Tata Institute of Social Science boy. He came with a pilot project. He established this. We asked him to continue the pilot. Today, 10 ladies are working with him. 5 years, we provided them infrastructure, machines, free electricity. Today, they have moved out of our center and working on their own. This is a sanitary napkin making machine which has been done for the tribal woman. We sell it through our network of menstrual cycle lectures, gender sensitization and all. So marketing is our responsibility. This Voltra is a solar firm formed by the IIT people. So we have taken them to the rural area. Our 70 schools has been done by them. One entire tribal village has been done a solar by them. And there are a lot of demands. So now they are settling into a rural area. So these are the different things that we have used for a rural incubation in our own small world. There are many areas where rural entrepreneurship is required, and I request the academic institutes to come and partner with us. We will be ready to take a responsibility, as I said, of an infrastructure, our reach. Otherwise, they will spend entering into a village a lot of time. To take the goodwill, take the faith from the villagers is a very big task. We have achieved that. We will take them over there. Their businesses will be very easy. So there are plenty of things that can be done in the rural area, but I think the grassroots entrepreneurship has got the great hope in coming future. City areas are depleting with the ideas. The rural is a big business. 60% of the India stays in the rural area. So let all your entrepreneurs take the business up for a rural area. Thank you very much.
Dr. Sept, for a very inspiring talk on rural incubation and rural entrepreneurship. I think there were 4 key words that I picked up. One was that of context, the rural context especially. The second one was about people, particular groups of people, in this case women in the main, starting with them. So starting where things matter most is critical. The third point that I picked up was about the appropriate use of relevant technology to connect people with contexts. And the fourth issue was that of philanthropy. So you're mixing the different sources of funding rather than necessarily depending on any one particular source. The 2 major issues that I picked up from Dr. Sept's presentation was that if you're thinking about grassroots activity, start where it matters most. Do not think in terms of unnecessarily a grand vision, but start where it matters most. Here, in the heart of the rural world, and especially with women. And secondly, the second point is that having started where it matters most, develop a strategy for relevant enterprise. That you need to have a strategic focus, and in having strategy by definition means being selective. You can't do everything. So have a strategic focus and starting where it matters most are probably two of the principles of grassroots activity that I picked up from Dr. Sept. Thank you very much again. We move on now to a macro world, a picture, and I'm going to ask Ananya Bhattacharya to talk particularly in terms of SDGs and SHGs, and let's see whether her take on SDGs and SHGs matches yours in terms of what you had to sort of say when you first interpreted what those words were. Thank you.
With you, it is really a pleasure being here and listening to all the inspirational talk, and I'd like to thank Goa University especially for making this possible, and of course Professor Mitro and Essex Business School and all the international participants for coming and collaborating with us, because as we are going through it, we are really feeling the more very importance and the relevance of this whole discussion on grassroots enterprise, SDGs and SHGs. So for the macro view, the SDG which specifically talks of entrepreneurship is SDG 8, right? It is talking of decent work and economic growth for all. And what are the biggest challenges to that? One big challenge is inequality, right? World has seen lowering of poverty because that was one of the goals where good work was done during the Millennium Development Goals. And now there is an increase in the proportion of middle income group, the middle class. But the challenge is we still have growing inequality, we still have millions and hundreds of millions of people who live below $2 a day. The next challenge is we have this huge population of young people, not only in our country but across the world, and unemployment is highest among them. It's 13%, which is much more than the average of around 5% of unemployment. And we do not see from where so many jobs will come. And that is where the SDGs are also talking of promoting innovation and entrepreneurship as a key to addressing this huge challenge of not only fulfilling the other SDGs, but also getting jobs for the young people. The third dimension of the challenge is what we have been discussing, the women. The inequality is not only among the rich and the poor, but also among men and women. And there are more women who are poor and more women out of work. And if we could get access to work for all these women, our global economy, our national economy, our regional economy would be all many, many trillions of dollars folded, many folded. So in this context, we have this beautiful concept of self-help groups in our country. In India, it's a huge success story. So self-help groups, I was just going through statistics, and we have 8.5 million self-help groups. And they have a collective savings. Someone mentioned what they do, they make collective savings. And it is to the tune of 161 billion rupees. That is the savings they have. And they, out of which around 5 million of SHGs, they are bank linked, and they have taken loans worth 605 billion rupees, and they are doing various things, microfinance and other work. And NPA is better than overall NPA. It's 6.5%, while overall it's 10. So that way, SHGs is a huge potential social capital we have. SHGs are institution of participation. But today, like Professor Sani said, that we have this whole problem of not breaking out of comfort zone. And many of the speakers highlighted the importance of social skills. And our SHGs lack that. And that's how, BanglaNatak.com started our journey in working in livelihood way back in 2004, when in one of the districts where we worked, we are a social enterprise, we are working for inclusive and sustainable development. And in one of the districts, the local governance head there, the Zilla Sabhadipati, he came and told us that that was the best performing district in the country on SHGs, and they have so much savings, but they don't even venture out of their home. So what do I do with them? So that's how we started working with the women, and we started working on giving them the basic skills of, talking about themselves, going out to the market. We use theatre, natak means theatre, and starting businesses. Now what business? Then that was a question. And we found that they have a lot of talent. We found this whole village who could paint and who could sing. And they painted songs on long scrolls and they sang. But they did not earn out of it. And this I'm talking of 2004. Until 90s they were going around and getting some money. But now there's television, so people hardly listen to those storytellers anymore. So these people I was talking to, they were either pulling carts or pulling van rickshaws, so it is called Patachitra. So we started working with that art form. It's called Art for Life is our initiative, which revives and revitalizes local skills. And this was under what was called the government SHG program called Sarna Jayanti Gramin Swarajgar Yojana at that time, which has now taken the shape of National Rural Livelihood Mission. So we started with 3,000 performing artists in West Bengal, and one of these was scroll painters. And today, in that village where we started working, at that point there were 10 persons who were painting, others had given up. They had no hope for that art form. Today, it is a village which is often called a fairyland, where you have painted houses. Average income in that village is above 30,000. The women are the most empowered. They're traveling across the world. Some of them are earning to the tune of 50, 60,000. They're getting commissioned work. They're painted in Mumbai airport. They're painted in Kolkata airport. They get commissioned work to do houses and panels and buildings and restaurants. So that is the power of community-based collective enterprise. So we are talking of grassroots industries. Is a enterprise which we are building out of a community's talents, assets, their social capital, their cultural capital. And that is something we often miss. So we have this enormous wealth of self-help groups whom we could channelize that energy and that tremendous resource. Some of you mentioned resource poor. But if people have collective savings of 161 billion, that's not resource poor. So I guess where we are missing out is we're not channelizing that energy and that asset base into addressing the goals. The same is the scenario of entrepreneurial education in our country. And I am really thankful, as I said, that Goa University is doing it and there's so many young people here. I think today the time has come where we need to, kind of mainstream social entrepreneurship. And for that, our young people, you need to understand what these goals are. You need to identify the local problems, you identify the local solutions, and that way, as my previous speaker, he shared about health, he shared about education. We have all these 17 goals related to health, education, environment, sanitation, and we can address all of them because we have that capital. So I'll tell you 3 of the stories here of 3 of our community-based enterprises. The first one is about a woman, Tajkira. She does kantha embroidery. So we started working with them around 2006-07, and that time we found they made these beautiful stoles which were sold in the market for 5,000. And they were getting only 1,500, and it took 3 months to do a stole, so it was only 500 rupees a month. So from there, this is her journey today. Tajkira went to France last year and did a 3-week residency program teaching the French about kantha. So that was a woman empowerment story, and Tajkira says today she is a crorepati in her own words. She is a crorepati. Now this is another craft tradition. It hardly had any income out of it. So what we did is we invested in their skill development. This is the village of the famous storytellers. They use natural color which they make out of fruits and flowers. And you note the number of women. So what was done in Art for Life? We revitalized the skill transmission. See, they had the skill, but they were in a shell and they were not coming out of it. They didn't know how to use it. And today's globalized, connected world gives you the opportunity of a huge market. So we did that direct market linkage, and in the last 3 years, on an average, 70 to 100 artists have traveled abroad, and people have also gone to these villages. So we worked at the level of art, revitalize the art. We empowered the artists, we trained them in what is managing production, what is business, how to price the products, how to sell the products, how to talk about the products. And we worked at the village level. We transformed each of these villages to a cultural hub. So each has a resource center now where people go, they learn about the art form, there's a small museum, we do village festivals. So as a result of this, what has happened, we are now working with around 40,000 families all across West Bengal, and there has been tremendous, not only improvement in income, as you have noticed, the women have benefited maximum, as Gandhiji had said, that so for a selfless service is concerned, women are always better than men. So even in community-based enterprise and collective enterprise, that has been our learning, that whenever we have empowered women, they have really taken the whole community forward with them. And both Katha and Patachetra, they are from minority communities, and they were not even allowed to walk out of the house before. And now they are traveling the world. And they are ensuring that their children are going to school, they are ensuring they have a toilet at home. So all other SDGs are getting addressed. So that is the power of community-based enterprise, the power of SAG. And what we need is academic collaboration to get this mainstream so that there are more entrepreneurs who come forward. And there is this lovely example, he said, of rural incubation. And our universities can be the innovation laboratories. We can support, the academic world can support this research, they can mentor the students, develop the skills, do the experimentation, and that would be lovely as a academic world. I think that's where we need to talk of partnerships, which is again the very important SDG 17. With that, I end. Thank you.
Opportunity is a word that we use a lot in trying to explain entrepreneurship. And here is another example, but opportunity for you to engage in the world of others is also important for entrepreneurship. And here was another example of how art and the reskilling of people in terms of their own skills, but adding layers of other skills that were necessary for them to be able to project their work in the wider community. And I think sort of key lessons that I picked up from there were around collective, community-based action for developing cultural, social capital, which in a sense also helps to build up other forms of capital, human capital as well as financial capital. And that is why mainstreaming social enterprise entrepreneurship, as opposed to looking at social entrepreneurship as a separate agenda, is so critically important. So in other words, just as again Subodh mentioned this morning, that art is embedded in the hearts and minds and actions of tribal artists, for example. Similarly, in entrepreneurship, we have to look in terms of engaging with social entrepreneurship as being embedded in entrepreneurship in general. It's not separate from any other kind of entrepreneurship. Thank you very much again.
So when it comes to beekeeping, okay, so my journey started in 2012, and it started with a bike ride, okay, basically. So I went to Mysore from Goa, and during that journey, I saw so many, difficulties that people face in local, as you say, the grassroots level difficulties that people face. And one of the major difficulties or the problem that people face was, there was 3G, there was 4G, but people were not having even Parle-G. Okay, there was a poverty. There were so many issues, like they had a skills, but they don't have proper channel, they don't have proper income. So that struck me. That really motivated me to do something for the to the society. And that is one thing. I was a software engineer. Basically, I have done MCA. I was working in Bangalore. Then again coming back to Goa, route. And just for the fish curry and rice, I came back to Goa. And then I started with I started one small NGO, wherein we used to conduct social activities. We used to go for trekking, bike riding, fishing, and through NGO, through this adventure activity, we used to collect funds, and that was given to the poor people, like helping children, giving them solar lamps or books. So this was the small activities that we used to do. After that, we realized that continuous donation, asking for donation, asking for fund was not that is not the right way. So we thought, why not give them a training to the tribal people, the places that we visit, like the forest area for trekking, bike riding. So why don't we give them some training and then purchase the product from them and market it. So that's how the entire cycle started. That's how the Raika honey started. Okay. So first thing is, yes, it's very important slide. 4 out of 5, the food that we eat is pollinated by honeybees. Almost 3/4. Okay, the food that we eat is by honeybees. So honeybees are that much important to us. So many, why it is important? The question is, it's because of pollination. Honeybees do the pollination part. It is most important. When it comes to farmer, for him, good yield means, okay, Bhagwan ki kripa रहेगी तो कुछ yield मिलेगा. No. Most important part is done by the bees, the small bees. Okay. So I realized that these bees play a very important role. Okay, and that's the reason I thought there are two opportunities over here. First thing is train them about beekeeping, so that will give good yield to the farmers. And the second thing will be get the honey, okay, which can be marketed. Apart from that, there was even one more factor, that was bee wax that can be marketed. So they were like honey, bee wax can be marketed in the market. And then importance of beekeeping was told to them about the pollination part, creating awareness at the grassroots level, and then the most important thing is don't kill the bees, honeybees. That was the basic idea. The tribal people, they used to just go there and then in the process of extraction of honey, they used to just lit up the area, fire up the area, and they used to kill the colony. The entire colony was destroyed in that process. So we taught them about scientific beekeeping. Now what is scientific beekeeping? And we'll go through it. Now this will be the plate. I mean, imagine a scenario wherein there is no bees. Okay, so you can just go through it that there is no apple over here, there is no custard apple, there's a carrot over there. So this will be your plate if there is no honeybee. So that will be the difference. So bees are important to us. So that's the reason, we started about beekeeping. We told people over here, we went to colleges, school level, various agencies like the agriculture department helped us, the NABARD or the Khadi Gramodev, they helped us in promoting beekeeping in Goa. So one over here, this guy is DGP, Mukti Chandar, is a police TCP. So he helped. Okay, when the top level guys they start beekeeping, automatically the other follow. They follow. Basically, they follow. कि यार ये तो कुछ कर रहा है, तो why not even I do it? Okay, they start following, and there are many people. Even the Governor General, Governor Mridula Sinha, she's doing beekeeping. She's promoting beekeeping in Goa. So there are various agencies which promote beekeeping. Now coming to colonies and organization. When you say beekeeping, in a bee world, okay, bees actually they came millions of years before we human beings arrived. So the bees, they are much more smarter. They have adapted to this world much earlier than we human beings. So what they have done is they communicate through a pheromone or through chemical signatures. They can even identify the nectar or pollen when they fly. Okay, during the flight only they can identify whether there is nectar or pollen inside the flowers. So they are so smart that they can even identify, or they can come to know whether there is any weather calamity or any thunderstorm coming. Okay. So in this bee world, there are majority. What we see over here, there is a queen bee. Okay, queen bee is larger in size. She manages the entire colony. There's a drone over there. He's male, and there are worker bees. The female bees. These are worker bees. So it's a female dominating society. Basically, when you say a colony, it means a female dominating society. But there are many worker bees. Around 20 to 30,000 worker bees in one box. That much of quantity of worker bees are there. So they work collectively. They work in an environment wherein there is a proper hierarchy. The work is given to the bees based on the age. Okay, the youngest one is given the work of cleaning part, of building a comb, rather than going out and collecting nectar. So that is the difference. Okay, so they work collectively, and we can learn so many things from honeybees. The teamwork that they show, the work environment. They don't fight with each other. Also, one more thing is the colony. When you say the colony, there are two boxes. Say suppose there are two boxes nearby. The bees will visit or come back to the same house, the same colony, rather than going to some other colonies, because each colony has a separate pheromone. Each colony has a separate scent. So based on that, the worker bee will come to the box. So that's how they work. So here is a slide when Mr. was talking about the worker bees, the type of worker bees, the different type of worker bees, like the house bees, the storekeepers. Their work is basically to cleaning part or storing part. Then there are builders. The builders are the ones who build the honeycomb. Okay. So their work is to build honeycomb rather than going outside and collecting nectar. Their work is building honeycomb for the one who returns from the flight of nectar flight. They will come and then they will store honey in that honeycomb. So their part is to store. Their part is to build honeycombs rather than going outside and collecting nectar. Next thing is cleaners. It's very important. Cleaners, Swachh Bharat. Cleaners are very important. So they come with pollen, they come with debris or some other material. So there has to be someone to clean that bee box. Okay? So that's the reason there are cleaners. There are fanners. Now fanners' work is to circulate the air, to maintain an optimum temperature. That is most important. Because if you don't maintain a temperature between 25 to 28 degree, the colony will collapse. So they have to maintain a temperature inside the bee box. Next thing is guard bees. These are very ferocious bee. They are ready to attack. These are like fidine. Okay, they are ready to die for the colony. They are fidine. So and whenever any beekeeper or any intruder comes and open up the bee box, they are the one who are going to guard the colony. They will be standing outside just at the entrance, bee box entrance, and they will guard the colony. So this is the guard bees. And the field worker bees. This is the last one wherein at the mature age, when the bees mature, at that time the last part is go outside, collect nectar and store in the colony, the honeycomb. So that is the part of the field bees. The average life, whatever we see over here, it depends on the climate again. During monsoon season, the lifespan increases. Okay, but during hot weather, the summer season when the workload is more, we have observed around 140 days maximum. Okay, the lifespan, or even sometimes if the bees are they are working day and night, the lifespan of the bees even reduces to 50 to 60 days. So this is the lifespan of a bee, a worker bee who works to get the nectar, pollen and store in the honeycomb. So this is the lifespan of bee. They work day and night to get honey. So as I said, Raika is a social enterprise. We give 10% of whatever we do. I mean, the charity work is being done through Bees for Sustainable Development. It's a project wherein we give training to the farmers, tribal people of Goa. We teach them how to do beekeeping, and with a buyback policy, we purchase honey from them. By doing that, what we do is they don't have to carry the honey and go out and sell in the market. Okay, so what we do is we go to their places, to the tribal area, and we collect honey from them, and then it's been marketed to various outlets, and where they are also on Amazon, where they are on Amazon.in. So even honey from this Goa, it goes outside to various states of Goa. So it's been a business wherein a small farmer or small tribal people, it's been trained, and with a buyback policy, we purchase honey, and then it is marketed outside Goa and in Goa. So this is the various work that we do. We have given solar lamps in villages like Netrawali, then Virdi, north side of Goa, and the basic purpose of this is to help the children, children from the forest area, where there are issues of electricity. And there are so many places in Goa where there is fluctuation in current, there is no proper electricity. So the children over there are they have some issues they face a lot of issues when it comes to studies. Okay, especially when the light goes, when there is no current, people over there are they face many issues. So what we thought is, why not we give them solar lamps and enlighten them. So we even give solar lamps, and second thing is books, other materials, study materials to for tribal people of Goa, their children. So yes, there's one more thing is we do even urban beekeeping. This is one more new factor that has come, new development that we do is many people have kitchen garden. So that's the reason we have started doing urban beekeeping. Another thing is many people have a fear of sting. Okay, so sting, and because of the sting, the fear of a sting, many people they avoid taking this, venturing into beekeeping business or taking a bee box. So one thing is there are bees which don't sting. Those are the stingless bees. Okay, and can be domesticated and kept in small boxes. So for urban places, we can keep bee boxes. Especially we can keep stingless bees, and those are excellent pollinators. When it comes to pollination, those are excellent pollinators. So yes, if you want to know more about it, or if you want any help regarding beekeeping, you can always contact me on this number. It's my WhatsApp number. So with that I'll conclude my session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Suprajit. Another very, very interesting presentation indeed. Very focused on the idea of beekeeping, and probably what can we learn from bees? What can we learn from bee colonies? And I picked up three interesting points. One was the extraordinary division of labor that they had, especially amongst the different grades of worker bees. The role of the queen bees, and alas, the male drone bee. Pointers to many males across the world that if you want to live a healthy life, do not necessarily be a drone bee. There are many other bees you can be part of. So the division of labor factor is quite an interesting one. The other one was the fact that they all seem to be part of a very well integrated ecosystem. That there is a natural connection not only with the jobs that they do and their relationships with each other, but in terms of what is it that they do in terms of pollination and with plants and flowers and the natural world outside. So they're very well integrated. They've created an ecosystem which functions extremely effectively and smoothly. But the ecosystem has a particular purpose, and that is to serve humanity. I mean, without these bees, without 4/5 of our food, it would disappear from the face of the earth without our bees. But I wonder if the bees know that they are serving humanity in the process. It's almost a selfless act of serving our humankind. Much to learn indeed, and I wonder, and it's very interesting therefore that in a micro sort of way, how much you're giving back to the tribal communities through both a sense of better scientific awareness, or rather awareness of scientific beekeeping, and particularly through training and the ability to generate income through the process. Fascinating kind of human ecosystem story, which to support the interesting and hugely adventurous ecosystem of bees themselves. Okay, so we have three interesting stories, three very, very powerful insights, which covered the broad question of rural incubation and rural enterprise, sustainable development goals and self-help groups, especially through working with rural communities and women in and through art, and finally beekeeping and services to humanity. So that brings very nicely, brings together three very important strands of how grassroots initiatives can be sustained and how sustainable development goals can be attained.
My name is Pooja and I'm based in Goa, and I just started last year a conservation-oriented, community-responsible travel enterprise in the marine space, trying to address some of the challenges around capacity building and sensitizing people to how we need to engage with that environment responsibly. My question is to Ms. Bhattacharya about the way, I want to understand a little bit about the strategy that is being used, because we are working in the same way, trying to create market linkages for a skill that already exists with the boat operators, but actually creating value add to a skill they already have and then creating a product, trying to help them market it. So I wanted to understand a little bit from your experience, how were you able to build those market linkages, and then what is the exit strategy for the supporting facilitator, which is the role we are playing right now, where some of these groups then can start to access and develop that on their own. So I'd like to understand a little bit about that.
The first step is, of course, the skill development and development of the products. But the main crux is, developing a brand and promoting the brand. And when we develop the brand, we make a conscious effort that it should be the brand of the people who are going to make the product and sell it. So we target developing community-based institutions. So it may be self-help groups in some cases, it may be societies of the producer groups. For example, we work with forest fringe dwellers, and they used to make ropes with grass, and that did not have much income. Now we have trained them in making a whole range of basketry products, we have trained them in natural dye, and we have promoted. Now when we are promoting the products, we don't ourselves promote, but we send these people, so that is also part of the skill building, where they learn what is market test, what is market trend, because unless they go out there, they won't know the world. So that exposure is very important. So after the skill development, we do a lot of promotion and market exposure, and of course we use the tools like websites, social media, brochures and all those things, so that the story of the products are told, and we also train them in telling the story. We even do spoken English class with them, so that even if they don't know English, they can explain the story in English to the customers. And our artists love to come to Goa. We bring lots of them here, because that gives them a taste of the world outside also, because there's so many tourists here.
The third thing is building that community-based institution. So we train the society, we then train them on business skills and all. And slowly, those societies, they take up the task. So it's a long process. It takes at least 2 to 3 years, but there is a process.
Any other comments? Yes, please.
This is to Mr. Aikar. Now you have entered an area where already there is a big competition, there are big players. Now when you enter in an area, is it not better to produce something which others do not produce? For example, in bee, you can add value by fermenting and converting into wine. Because here otherwise you have got Dabur, you have got Patanjali, and you got umpteen number of competitors. Now what is the chance of survival?
Yeah, very good question. First thing is, people always look out for good quality honey, okay? The first thing is they look out for organic honey. That is most important. Even there are so many honey in the market, but the people over here, they search for organic honey and the honey which comes locally, rather than purchasing honey from the outside state, like honey from Haryana or say suppose Punjab have a different taste and protein, the pollen value inside that, rather than honey from Goa. So based on the location, the taste and the quality of honey will change. Locally, you will get honey with the mixture of jamun, soap nut, a different flora which is there locally, which is found locally in this Western Ghats area. So that is one part. Second thing is we have ventured into beeswax products. Once the honey is extracted, what is left is the beeswax. So we have ventured into beeswax products. We have made beeswax soap, lip balm. So those are the different ventures that we have started. Apart from that, there are many companies who do this Apis cerana indica or Apis mellifera bees, but there are very few companies who are into stingless bees production, stingless bee honey production. So that's a different honey. Locally, it has very much medicinal value. It is one of the most expensive honey. So we can we have done that. And again, monoflora honey. Monoflora honey means honey coming from one source. Like if there are diabetes patient, then best honey will be jamun honey. Okay, so we can even target specific areas in Goa where there are small patches of say suppose jamun tree. We can target that. One of the most expensive honey that is found in this area is the Rita honey or the soap nut honey. It will cost you somewhere around 2,000 rupees per kg. And the flowering of that Rita is somewhere in the month of October, November. Okay, so we can even target that. So there's so many opportunities. Rather than just when you say competition, yes, we face a lot of competition, but our main objective is giving good quality honey and trust. That is like trust is transferred from the the local farmer, the tribal people of Goa till the customer. With the people trust is very important. And definitely the quality of honey is also very important to compete with the brands, the big brands. Yeah.
I guess he was offering you an opportunity.
Yes.
Diversify.
We can definitely think on it. Definitely.
You can use also. You can mix the technology of Femi with honey and honey. You will create something
on as a possible partner. Seems to be replete with ideas.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you for your creative inputs there. Any other questions or comments?
My question is to Mr. Madhavji.
Who are you? Sorry, can you tell us who you are?
My name is Sharda.
Before you speak, can you, the two other people who ask questions, who are you? I want to make a note because there might be some royalty exchange. Sorry, would you mind just saying who you are?
Yeah, my name is Pooja Mitra.
Oh yes, you did mention.
And my company is called Terra Conscious.
Yes.
We work on responsible travel.
Okay. And the opportunity creator, gentlemen?
I'm Bijon Shah. I am a trainer for industry. Engineer.
Sorry, please.
My name is Sharda and I work with an organization called Digital Empowerment Foundation. My question was to Mr. Madhavji that, in general in rural areas, there are several PHCs that exist, but a lot of them are not functional. And in that sense, what do you think the future of telemedicine is in rural areas, teleconsulting, telemedicine?
Yes, telemedicine has got a wonderful future, provided we get the technology at a lesser cost. At present, the cost is little prohibitive of a telemedicine. And for a telemedicine, you require dedicated doctors to be created in the city, which is not going to be difficult. But the technology is going to be little difficult. So at present, sort of a barefoot doctor can be a solution. Now, communication, transportation is become easier in the rural area. So they can easily come to a little city areas or a taluka or a whether. So that telemedicine is losing its sort of an edge that it had about 10 years back. Today it is less because everybody will just start with the auto or something and come to a city center and take the medication rather than waiting for your vehicle to go over there and do a telemedicine. But yes, in a certain areas, definitely it has got the role to play. And especially tribal areas, which are very remote, the roads are not good, the communication is not good, telemedicine is a very good idea. But it hasn't become popular only because the roads have improved, the communication has improved. When I went to a tribal village first, when I was giving them a solar lamp, they said, give a solar lamp with a mobile charging. The first reaction to everybody is that you laugh. You don't have a light and you want a mobile. But imagine they don't have any other communication. That's the only way to communicate when they go far off into their village where you don't imagine somebody can stay. So when you think deeper into that, yes, they do require that kind of a thing. But telemedicine hasn't caught up in India because of that the roads and transportation is becoming much easier.
And probably the need for more doctors. Yes. The availability of actual human power, personnel power.
Yes.
We have time for just one last comment or question, but not a speech.
For a suggestion?
Yes, welcome suggestion. Or a critical suggestion, whichever.
Yeah, I don't mind, I'm just giving a suggestion, and I don't mind if my suggestion is rejected by the organization. This is for the organization, for the organizers. A lot of hard work has gone into putting all this seminar, resources and hard work. The speakers were very good, the organizers have done a wonderful job. But speaking for a little while, it's not possible for the people who are listening to recollect all that at a later stage. If you can put all this together and put it out into the website, I think it'll be much better for not only those who are here present, but those who are not here as well. Thank you.
It is a suggestion which cannot be rejected under any circumstances, and your wishes will be fulfilled because they will be made available on the website for wider circulation, even beyond this particular audience. So I hope all of you will be able to access and work with some of the information. If I could end by saying, well, thank you first to the speakers for bringing together 3 takeaway points from me, which you may wish to sort of share. One is the particular importance in all the stories, the question of development of an ecosystem approach, the development of a community of people, of competition, yes, but collaboration very much at the heart of making things happen. But collaboration and community development can be easy words. They can be lost in a cloud of good wishes and good intentions. It can happen only when appropriate resources are used. And this is not technology imposed on people. This is capability and talent that lies at the heart of people. I'm reminded of Amartya Sen's concept of capabilities, is that everybody has certain aspirations in life. We all have aspirations to achieve in one form or the other. We may even acquire skills to achieve those aspirations. But the point is that those aspirations may not necessarily be developed into capabilities unless there are opportunities for that to happen within a collaborative ecosystem. And that means the role of other players, the point I've been making all along, that the role of other players in working in conjunction. But that is not also going to be possible if you don't make strategic choices. Strategic choices in the case of rural health with rural women. Strategic choices in the case of art for life, working with women and their particular expertise in the realms of art and theatre, etc. Strategic choices in looking at making organic honey and hopefully soon organic honey wine. So these are the amazing stories of ecosystem and community development at the grassroots level by making strategic choices in a context that matters. Thank you very much. Thank you to the audience.
The interesting point is that I am a doctor, doesn't have a knowledge about the rural development. She is a worker with the SHG without any knowledge of that. He is a software engineer without having the knowledge of a honeybee. So the important message that we want to give is that don't fear. Go into your passion, do it. केल्याने होता आहे रे आधी केलेचे पाहिजे. किती जणांना मराठी कळतं? So better start, don't hesitate. That's the message that we three want to give you. That should not have a fear about anything. Common sense and the logic is the one that works first. Later on, the academicians can definitely are there to help us. Thank you.
Or make a mistake.
Thank you, Professor J. Mitra. Thank you, Dr. Madhav Sate, Shukrajit Raikar and Ananda Bhattacharya for this wonderful session. Our next session will start half an hour later. Now it's the tea time. But before we go, I just thought during this session, I will just add one small thing. You know, in the Hangzhou, there was a Millennium Development Goal when it was, the review was going on in the MDGs. People were analyzing that what we have achieved in MDG, what we did not achieve in MDG, and then what next. And then the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goal, this was formed. And what is the main difference that came out? In MDG, the dependency on government was 100%. In SDG, it was kept only 40%. And 60% it was kept for entrepreneurship. So that's actually the game, that's actually the opportunity that we have in grassroots entrepreneurship addressing the sustainable development goals. So as Dr. Madhav Sate gave a call, Dr. Mitra also reiterated that it is high time that we address the local resources and develop grassroots entrepreneurship catering to our needs. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.